The arena was vast. Its walls rose higher than the tallest mountains on Earth, made of metal that shimmered under the bright alien lights. Creatures of all shapes and sizes filled the stands. Some had scales that glowed, some had multiple limbs, and some had eyes that could see in ways humans could not imagine. They had come to watch, as they always did, to see who would survive and who would fall. Today, the spotlight was not on a seasoned alien warrior, but on something the crowd had never seen before, a human. Lena walked into the arena, her hands bound with energy cuffs that the alien soldiers thought would keep her under control. She was small, almost fragile compared to the towering soldiers around her. Her brown hair was tied back tightly, and her green eyes scanned the crowd with a mixture of fear and determination. The aliens expected a terrified girl, someone who would cry, plead, and beg for mercy. Instead, they found her calm, almost serene. The alien commander, a massive being with 4 arms and armored scales, stepped forward. His voice rumbled like distant thunder as he spoke. "This is the human. She is to fight. She will entertain us or she will be crushed." That was when some of the soldiers noticed the mark on her neck, a tattoo unlike anything they had ever seen. A dark symbol, sharp and elegant, etched in perfect lines. It glowed faintly under the arena lights, almost like it was alive. One of the soldiers whispered to another, his voice shaking slightly. "Do you see that? That mark, it is not ordinary. I have seen humans before, but none have this." They were considered weak, fragile creatures who relied on luck more than skill. The aliens leaned forward, expecting the usual spectacle. They would be disappointed in the wrong way. Lena's mind raced, not with fear, but with calculation. She remembered the stories from Earth, the legends of the Reapers, humans who were said to appear when the odds were impossible, humans who could survive the deadliest situations with skill, wit, and courage. She had been trained since childhood, preparing for moments like this. Every muscle in her body had learned to respond, every reflex sharpened, every thought honed to anticipate danger. The commander raised a hand, signaling for the test to begin. A series of platforms rose from the floor, each holding small weapons and holographic drones that would test her skills. The first drone whirred to life, its metallic limbs moving faster than the human eye could follow. The crowd laughed, certain that the girl would panic. Some aliens even started placing bets, convinced she would be eliminated within minutes. But Lena moved differently than they expected. She did not rush or panic. She studied the drone, predicting its next movement before it even happened. Her feet shifted lightly on the ground, and with a precise motion, she dodged the drone's attacks and struck it with a simple hand movement that shattered it instantly. Sparks flew, and the crowd went silent. Another drone appeared, larger this time, equipped with bladed arms. The alien soldiers leaned forward, their expressions changing from amusement to disbelief. Lena's eyes glowed faintly with focus. She jumped, flipped, and maneuvered through the air with a grace that seemed impossible for someone her size. With a swift kick and a twist, she sent the drone crashing into the floor. Whispers spread through the arena. What is this human?" one alien murmured. "It cannot be normal." Her tattoo pulsed faintly as if recognizing the danger and awakening something inside her. It was not magic nor technology. It was a mark of her heritage, a sign that she carried within her the strength and instincts of the Reapers. The commander called for a pause, confused. "She should not be able to do this," he said. No human should survive even a single test, let alone 3. She intended to make her own. The next challenge was more dangerous. The platforms below her shifted and rotated, and a larger drone emerged, designed to crush anything in its path. It moved like a predator, faster and smarter than the last. Lena's eyes narrowed. She studied its pattern, predicted its movements, and used her environment to her advantage. The platforms shifted beneath her feet, but she moved with the balance of a dancer. The drone lunged, its claws snapping, but Lena was faster. She ducked, rolled, and used the drone's momentum against it, sending it crashing into the wall. Sparks flew, and pieces of metal scattered across the floor. The crowd gasped. Some aliens looked away, uneasy for the first time. The soldiers whispered among themselves, "This human, she is not just strong, she is clever, too clever." From the ceiling, a large figure descended, a champion gladiator, a massive alien warrior covered in thick armor. He wielded a weapon that could crush a human with a single swing. The crowd cheered loudly, certain that this would finally end the spectacle. Lena's heart beat steadily, not with fear, but with focus. She observed the warrior, noting every detail, the weight of his weapon, the timing of his swings, the way he moved despite his size. Her tattoo pulsed, reminding her that she was ready, that she carried the legacy of the Reapers within her. The warrior charged. Lena dodged, barely avoiding the swing of his massive weapon. She rolled, ducked, and countered, using his own momentum to unbalance him. Every movement was precise, calculated, and efficient. She did not strike to kill, but to disable, to prove her skill without unnecessary harm. The crowd fell silent, watching in awe as the small human girl controlled the battlefield with a mastery that defied all expectations. The aliens' laughter turned to shock, and some even felt fear. They had assumed humans were weak, fragile, and predictable. Lena proved them wrong. The warrior stumbled, surprised by her speed and ingenuity. He looked at the tattoo on her neck, realizing that it was not just a symbol, it was a warning. The mark of a Reaper meant something far greater than mere humans could understand. It meant survival, skill, and power beyond imagination. The commander stepped forward again, his voice quieter this time. She is different. This human, she is not what we thought. The crowd stared, the soldiers whispered, and the commander realized that this girl, this human, was far more than a simple captive. In that moment, Lena understood something as well. She was not just fighting for herself. She was fighting for the reputation of all humans. She would show the galaxy that humans were not weak, not fragile, not to be underestimated. They were cunning, resilient, and capable of facing the impossible with courage and skill. Her tattoo glowed faintly, almost as if approving of her performance. It was a quiet reminder that the legacy she carried was real, that the Reaper's strength was alive in her veins, and that she had the power to survive what no other human could. The arena fell into silence for a brief moment before the crowd erupted again. But this time, it was not with mockery or excitement, it was with awe. The humans they had expected to be prey were proving themselves as equals, perhaps even superiors, in ways the aliens could not comprehend. Lena looked around, seeing the shocked faces, the whispered conversations, and the hesitation in the soldiers' movements. She smiled faintly, not because she was proud of hurting anyone, but because the first step had been taken. Humans were no longer the weak ones. They had arrived, and the galaxy would remember. The commander lowered his hand. He did not know what to do next. He had expected a human girl to entertain, to provide spectacle, to be defeated quickly. Instead, he had witnessed strategy, skill, and intelligence that surpassed any warrior he had ever faced. The tattoo on her neck glowed a little brighter, as if acknowledging the moment of recognition. Lena remained calm, ready for whatever came next. She knew this was only the beginning. The arena had shown her strength, but the galaxy outside was full of challenges. She would face them all, just as she had faced the drones and the warrior, with skill, courage, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are more than anyone expects. And in that vast, alien arena, under the watchful eyes of thousands of creatures, one thing became clear. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. The arena remained tense after Lena's first challenge. The crowd's excitement had shifted into quiet curiosity. Whispers spread like fire, and the alien soldiers who had brought her here began to question their orders. They had thought capturing a human girl would be simple, a show for the arena, but now they faced something they could not easily explain. Lena stood in the center of the platform, catching her breath, her green eyes calm and alert. Her tattoo still glowed faintly, pulsing with a rhythm that seemed connected to her heartbeat. She did not relax for a second. Every movement in the arena, every shift of the platform, every sound from the audience was observed. Her senses, sharpened by years of training, picked up even the smallest details. The commander, the massive four-armed alien, looked down at her from the edge of the platform. He had never seen such poise in someone so small. "She survives, not by luck," he said quietly. "She plans, she anticipates, she adapts. This is not natural." Lena's eyes narrowed. The new section revealed multiple small drones, faster and sharper than the ones she had already faced. But there was more. 2 humanoid aliens, trained fighters, armed with energy weapons and armored in reinforced suits, stepped forward. Their goal was not only to defeat her, but to test her limits, to show everyone why humans were considered weak. Lena remained calm. She had faced training exercises far more dangerous on Earth. She knew that raw strength alone could not win here. Every step she had learned in her youth, every exercise that honed her mind and body, every moment of survival training had led to this. She would not underestimate them, nor would she panic. The first drone darted toward her like a striking snake. Lena's eyes followed its movement precisely. She twisted her body, rolling just as the drone lunged, and grabbed its arm, twisting it until the mechanism failed. Sparks flew, and it collapsed in a heap. The alien soldiers beside her hesitated, surprised at her speed and precision. The second drone was bigger, faster, and more aggressive. Lena leapt over it, landing lightly on the rotating platform. She reached out, hitting its sensors with pinpoint accuracy, temporarily blinding it. The drone flailed, crashing into the platform with a noise that echoed throughout the arena. The humanoid aliens advanced carefully, weapons raised. They expected her to be slow, clumsy, or afraid. Instead, Lena met their approach with strategy. She did not attack recklessly. She studied their movements, their rhythm, the angle of their weapons, and their posture. Every step she took was calculated to maintain balance and avoid being trapped. One of the humanoid aliens swung its weapon in a wide arc, expecting her to be too slow to dodge. Lena jumped, spun in the air, and landed behind it. She grabbed its weapon arm and used a precise twist to force the alien off balance. He stumbled, barely catching himself before falling into the gap between platforms. The crowd was silent. Even the alien spectators who had bet against her now watched in awe. They had expected a human girl to be overwhelmed, to struggle, perhaps even to beg. Instead, they saw grace, intelligence, and skill that rivaled trained alien warriors. The other humanoid alien charged next. Lena moved toward him, but she did not meet him head-on. Instead, she used the environment to her advantage. Platforms shifted under her feet, giving her momentum to dodge, slide, and counter. She pushed, pulled, and guided him into a trap set by the shifting platforms. He stumbled, lost balance, and fell to the side, narrowly avoiding the gaps that could have ended him. Her tattoo pulsed with light, brighter now, almost as if feeding on the tension, giving her strength and focus. Lena did not understand it fully, but she had always known it was a symbol of her Reaper heritage, a lineage of humans trained to survive the impossible. It was not magic nor technology, but a marker of potential, and she was beginning to feel it awaken. The commander stepped back, whispering to a nearby officer, "I have faced hundreds of warriors. I have never seen one so small control so much. This human is more than a fighter. She is a strategist, a master of herself and her environment. She cannot be ordinary." A platform descended slowly, releasing multiple hovering drones armed with energy blades. Their movements were unpredictable, designed to overwhelm anyone who faced them. Lena's eyes tracked them all. She anticipated each strike, moving like water, twisting and ducking. One drone came too close, and she kicked it with perfect timing, sending it into another. Sparks erupted as the drones collided. She used the drone's momentum to her advantage. Each move she made was efficient, calculated, leaving no wasted energy. The audience began to murmur, their curiosity turning into admiration. These humans, thought to be weak, could survive situations that alien warriors struggled with. The first humanoid alien regained his balance and advanced again, more cautious this time. Lena stayed calm. She had studied him, learned his tendencies. When he lunged, she sidestepped and used a small device on her wrist, one she had carried unnoticed, emitting a pulse that disrupted his armor slightly. He froze for a moment, confused by the sudden weakness. That brief hesitation was enough. Lena moved in, using speed and leverage to disarm him. He fell to the platform, exhausted but alive. Lena's training taught her that victory did not always mean destruction. Precision and control mattered more than brute force. The crowd erupted in whispers and amazement. "It cannot be human," one alien said. "She moves like the Reapers of legend," another added. "That tattoo, it must be a sign." "If she is truly a Reaper," he said quietly, "then capturing humans was a mistake. They are not prey, they are different." From the side of the arena, a screen displayed the data collected from the drones and humanoid tests. The results were staggering. Lena had neutralized every threat with efficiency, skill, and without causing permanent harm. Her reflexes, her speed, her strategy, they were far beyond what was expected from a human. The commander approached cautiously, studying her closely. "You are a human," he said, voice low. "Yet you surpass anything I have seen. What is this mark on your neck?" He had heard stories, legends from ancient times of humans with such abilities, but he had never believed them. Now, standing in front of him, he realized the stories were true. This small human girl carried the strength, skill, and cunning that could challenge even the most powerful alien warriors. The crowd remained silent, absorbing the scene. Lena's calm, measured actions, combined with her glowing tattoo and her control over the battlefield, had shifted their expectations. Humans were no longer prey. They were intelligent, adaptable, and capable of facing the impossible. Lena allowed herself a small, almost imperceptible smile. She had passed the first stage. She had shown that humans were more than their size or appearance suggested. She had demonstrated skill, intelligence, and courage. And she had sent a message: underestimate her and you would regret it. The commander finally spoke, his voice measured. This human, she is not ordinary. She is dangerous, yes, but not foolish. Perhaps she is worthy of respect. And in that moment, surrounded by the vast alien crowd, Lena understood something important. Being underestimated was an advantage. Every doubt, every whisper of disbelief, every sneer from the aliens had given her power. They saw a girl, but she was a reaper. They saw weakness, but she carried strength beyond imagination. The arena had not just been a test of skill. It had been a lesson for the humans, for the aliens, for the galaxy. And Lena was just beginning. She was small, but she was unstoppable. The arena buzzed with anticipation. After Lena had bested the drones and the humanoid soldiers, the whispers of awe had spread throughout the audience. Even the alien commanders, known for their stoic composure, exchanged uneasy glances. Humans were rare enough to be considered curiosity, but this one, the small human girl with the glowing tattoo, was proving herself to be a force beyond imagination. The commander's forearms moved with precision as he signaled to the arena's control center. "Bring forth the champion," he ordered. His voice resonated through the arena, carrying a weight that silenced even the murmuring crowd. The champion was not a minor fighter or a test subject. He was the apex of alien combat, trained for decades in multiple forms of battle, armored in reinforced alloys, and armed with energy blades capable of cutting through steel. He had never failed a challenge. No opponent had ever made him pause. The platforms shifted, and a massive hatch opened in the center of the arena. Dust and sparks flew as the champion descended. He was taller than any human could hope to be, his muscles corded beneath heavy armor that hummed with energy. His weapon, a double-edged energy sword, crackled with a blue light that seemed to slice through the very air. The crowd erupted. Cheers, shouts, and alien cries filled the arena. Most were confident this would be the end for the human girl. They leaned forward, excited to see her fall. But Lena did not move. She stood calm, her green eyes locked on the champion. She did not tremble. She did not shrink. Her tattoo pulsed softly, glowing brighter than before, as if recognizing a true challenge. This was what it had been waiting for, a worthy opponent, one that would test not only her strength but her skill, strategy, and patience. The champion stepped forward, his heavy boots pounding against the metal platform. "Human," he said, his voice amplified by his helmet, "you should not have been brought here. You do not belong in this arena." "I belong wherever I choose to be," she replied calmly. Her words carried no fear, no arrogance, only certainty. The champion laughed, a deep, resonant sound that echoed off the walls. "We will see about that." He raised his sword and charged. Lena did not flinch. She had studied combat techniques for years, not just physically but mentally. She knew that facing a larger, stronger opponent required more than just speed. It required strategy, observation, and exploiting weaknesses. The champion swung his sword in a wide arc, expecting to crush her with a single blow. Lena rolled to the side, moving faster than the eye could follow. Sparks flew as the sword struck the metal platform, leaving a long scar. She used his momentum against him, stepping close to push him slightly off balance before jumping backward to maintain distance. The crowd gasped. Even the alien soldiers who had brought her here were beginning to doubt their assumptions. This human was not simply surviving, she was controlling the battle. The champion adjusted quickly, bringing both arms to swing again. He was powerful, skilled, and experienced. He had faced countless opponents who relied solely on strength, and he was confident in his victory. But Lena was different. She did not rely solely on reflexes or raw strength. She read him, anticipated his moves, and responded with precision. She darted forward, dodging a downward strike and knocking his sword slightly aside. The clash of metal rang through the arena. She rolled under a spinning swing, flipped behind him, and tapped a weak point in his armor she had noticed during his approach. Sparks erupted, but the champion remained standing, surprised by her accuracy. The audience leaned forward. They had expected a short display of human weakness, a quick defeat. Instead, they watched a battle of skill, intelligence, and controlled power. Lena was small, yes, but every move she made was deliberate and effective. The champion snarled. "You are fast," he admitted through his helmet, "but speed alone will not save you." She jumped onto a raised section, slid across the surface, and used a quick kick to disrupt the champion's footing. He stumbled slightly, unaccustomed to an opponent who used the environment so effectively. The tattoo on her neck pulsed brighter, glowing with energy that Lena did not fully understand. She had always known it was part of her Reaper heritage, a mark of survival and potential. Now in the heat of battle, it seemed almost alive, responding to danger, amplifying her awareness and reflexes. The champion swung his sword again, faster now, more precise, trying to predict her movements. Lena anticipated his strikes, reading his rhythm and patterns, and avoided direct contact. Instead, she used his momentum, his own strength, and the arena's shifting floor to her advantage. Each attack he made, she redirected or countered. The commander watched closely. "She is reading him," he whispered to an officer. "She is learning faster than any human should. This is extraordinary." Lena adapted to each one, analyzing, reacting, and exploiting his smallest mistakes. She did not strike to harm unnecessarily. Instead, she focused on control, keeping him off balance and forcing him into positions where he overextended. Sparks flew as metal clashed, energy arcs illuminated the arena, and the audience watched in stunned silence. After a particularly fast swing, Lena managed to grab the champion's arm mid-swing. She twisted it, directing his momentum into the wall behind him. He slammed against it with a heavy clang, armor dented but still functional. Lena rolled back to maintain distance, breathing steadily, her eyes never leaving him. The crowd erupted in whispers. "She is controlling him," an alien said. "A human controlling the champion?" Another whispered. "The Reaper mark, it is real." Every movement she made had purpose. She anticipated attacks, used the platforms, and exploited weaknesses in his stance. The battle was no longer about raw power, it was about intelligence, skill, and control. The commander's voice broke the tension. "I have never seen a human survive like this," he said. "They were said to be weak. This one, she is a master, a Reaper." She knew she could not simply outfight him with speed alone. The key was to anticipate, adapt, and control. She studied his breathing, the way he shifted his weight, and the subtle movements that revealed his intentions. The champion lunged with full force. Lena ducked under his swing, grabbed the edge of his weapon, and redirected it. Sparks flew as she twisted her body, using his strength against him. He stumbled, nearly losing balance, and Lena jumped back to safety. The audience was on the edge of their seats. Aliens who had mocked humans were now silent, watching a display of intelligence, skill, and precision they had never imagined. Lena, small and human, was holding her own against the ultimate champion of the arena. The champion growled, acknowledging her skill. "You are more than I expected," he said. "Your kind I underestimated." For a brief moment, the champion faltered, the first time he had ever hesitated in a battle. Lena saw her chance. She did not strike to kill. Instead, she disarmed him with a swift motion, sending his weapon spinning across the platform. He looked at her, surprised but unafraid. The crowd erupted in awe. They had expected an easy victory for the champion, but the human girl had controlled the fight. She had proven skill, courage, and intelligence far beyond what they had imagined. The commander nodded slowly. "She is not just surviving, she is dominating." His voice carried a mixture of respect and fear. "The humans, they are not weak. They are something else entirely." The crowd, the soldiers, and even the champion himself recognized that this small human girl possessed something rare, something extraordinary, a combination of intelligence, courage, and control that defied all expectations. As she stood in the center of the arena, breathing steadily, Lena realized this was more than a test of strength. It was a lesson for everyone watching. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and capable of facing challenges no one expected them to survive. The champion, still armored and powerful, bowed slightly in respect. "You are worthy," he said. "I underestimated humans, never again." Humans were small, yes, but underestimated humans could change the course of any battle, the perception of any species, and the expectations of the entire galaxy. The arena fell into a mix of silence and whispers. The aliens who had mocked her now viewed her with respect. The soldiers who had captured her were cautious, unsure of how to proceed. And the commander, for the first time, felt the weight of underestimating a human. Lena's tattoo pulsed softly, fading slightly as the tension eased. She had survived, adapted, and controlled the battlefield. The galaxy might see her as small, but the mark of the Reaper ensured that no one would ever doubt her or her kind again. And in that moment, Lena knew the battle was only beginning. Humans were underestimated, yes, but she had shown the galaxy that intelligence, courage, and control could make even the smallest human a force to be reckoned with. The arena, once a place of spectacle and mockery, had become a stage of recognition. Lena had changed everything. The arena was silent after Lena's victory over the champion. The crowd had not expected such a display of skill, strategy, and control. Aliens who had mocked humans now whispered in disbelief, and the soldiers who had dragged her here began to look at her with hesitation. Lena stood in the center, her green eyes calm, her tattoo pulsing faintly. She had not yet moved, and yet the weight of her presence filled the arena. The commander, still wary, stepped closer. He had expected the human to be clever, but this was beyond even his imagination. "She adapts faster than any warrior I have faced," he murmured to one of his officers. "Her mind is as sharp as her body. This is not normal." There would always be another test, another opponent, another way the aliens would try to measure her limits. But she was ready. She had trained for situations far deadlier than this. She was not just a fighter, she was a reaper, a human with instincts, intelligence, and resilience that could survive the impossible. Suddenly, the platforms beneath her feet shifted again. From above, massive cages opened, releasing a new challenge. This time, it was not just drones or single opponents. Multiple alien soldiers, heavily armored and equipped with energy weapons, stepped into the arena simultaneously. Their mission was clear: test the human's limits and see if she could survive overwhelming odds. Lena's eyes narrowed. She studied the patterns of their approach, the timing of their movements, and the spacing between them. She did not panic. She knew she could not rely on brute strength alone. She had to control the environment, anticipate every attack, and exploit their weaknesses. The first soldier lunged at her with an energy spear. Lena moved with precision, sidestepping and redirecting his momentum. He stumbled forward, narrowly avoiding a trap in the shifting platform. She used the motion to her advantage, tapping the edge of his armor to destabilize him further. The second soldier came from the side, swinging a heavy blade. Lena ducked and rolled, coming up behind him. She tapped a weak point in his armor, enough to disrupt his balance but not to harm him permanently. She had learned long ago that controlling a fight was more important than destroying the opponent. The crowd was silent. Even the aliens who had cheered for the champion were now watching in awe. The human girl, small and unarmed in comparison, moved like a force of nature. She dodged, redirected, and controlled the battlefield with skill that seemed almost supernatural. The soldiers regrouped, trying to coordinate their attacks. They thought that numbers would overwhelm her, but Lena was already anticipating their strategy. She moved like water, flowing between them, using their momentum and the arena's shifting platforms to her advantage. Every step, every motion was deliberate and precise. One of the soldiers, frustrated by her speed, fired an energy blast. Lena leapt into the air, twisting gracefully to avoid it. The blast struck a platform instead, sending sparks flying and forcing other soldiers to adjust. She landed lightly, her tattoo glowing brighter as if reacting to the danger. The commander leaned closer to the edge of the arena. "Her tattoo, it responds to threats," he whispered. "It is not decoration. It is something more." She could anticipate their attacks before they even fully committed to them. The soldiers tried to trap her, closing in from multiple directions. But Lena had already predicted their movements. She used a rotating platform to slide between two of them, tapping a control panel on the edge that caused the floor to tilt slightly. One soldier lost balance, the other was forced backward, and she remained centered, ready for the next attack. The arena erupted in whispers. "It cannot be human," one alien said. "She controls them like puppets." Another added, "The Reaper mark, it is real." She knew a direct confrontation would be dangerous. Instead, she used his momentum against him. When he swung the hammer, she sidestepped, grabbed his arm, and redirected the force toward the edge of the platform. Sparks flew as he stumbled, barely keeping his balance. The other soldiers hesitated, uncertain how to react. They had expected a human to panic, to falter, but Lena remained calm, confident, and in control. Every movement she made was precise, efficient, and strategic. The commander's voice broke the tension. "This human, she is not just skilled, she is intelligent. She adapts, anticipates, and dominates. I have never seen such control in any species." She noticed the patterns in the soldiers' attacks, the slight delays in their coordination, and the gaps they left in their formations. She exploited every opening, moving like water between them, redirecting attacks and neutralizing threats without unnecessary harm. One soldier, frustrated by her evasions, fired a continuous energy beam. Lena leapt onto a raised platform, flipping over it and landing behind the source. She tapped a control panel, redirecting the beam harmlessly into a wall. The soldiers were stunned. Their coordinated assault was failing, and the human girl remained in perfect control. The tattoo on her neck glowed brightly now, a soft light that seemed to echo her focus. Lena felt a surge of energy, her instincts sharpened, and her reflexes became almost superhuman. She was no longer just a skilled fighter. She was a reaper fully aware of her abilities and ready to use them strategically. The soldiers regrouped for another attempt, more cautious this time. They realized brute force alone would not work. Lena anticipated their hesitation. She moved swiftly, using the arena's shifting platforms, sliding past attacks, and subtly redirecting their energy blasts. Each move kept her safe while destabilizing her opponents. The crowd leaned forward. Even those who had once mocked humans now watched in silence, all replacing amusement. Lena's control, intelligence, and skill were undeniable. She had turned the arena into her domain, manipulating the environment and her opponents with precision. The commander spoke again, quietly to himself. If she is truly a reaper, then humans are more than prey. They are something to be respected, something to fear. The soldiers were skilled, and there would always be someone stronger, faster, or more experienced. But she had something they did not expect: her intelligence, her adaptability, and the reaper mark that enhanced her awareness and instincts. One of the soldiers charged with an energy sword. Lena anticipated the strike, ducked, and redirected the sword toward a platform, using its momentum to knock it off balance. Sparks flew, and the soldier stumbled, giving her the advantage. She moved quickly, disarming him without causing injury. The remaining soldiers hesitated. They had underestimated her, and now they were paying the price. Lena remained calm, controlling the pace of the battle, predicting their moves, and using her environment and skill to maintain dominance. The crowd erupted in whispers of admiration. "She is controlling them all," one alien said. "The humans, they are not weak." Another added, "The Reaper mark, it gives her power beyond imagination." She knew the battle was more than physical. It was mental, strategic, and emotional. She had to prove that humans were capable of intelligence, control, and resilience beyond what the galaxy expected. The soldiers tried one final coordinated attack, rushing her from multiple directions. Lena analyzed their timing, their spacing, and the rhythm of their movements. She moved like a shadow, sidestepping, redirecting, and controlling each attack. One soldier was knocked off balance by the platform, another disarmed, and the third stumbled over a shifting floor panel. The crowd erupted in astonishment. Even the commander was forced to admit defeat in his mind. "She has mastered the impossible," he said. "Humans are not prey. They are warriors." They had underestimated her, and now they understood the power of a human mind, body, and spirit. Lena had shown them that humans were not weak, fragile, or predictable. The arena had been a test, but it had also been a lesson for the humans, for the aliens, and for everyone watching. Lena had demonstrated that intelligence, courage, and control could overcome overwhelming odds, and that humans, even small and underestimated, could dominate in ways no one expected. Her tattoo pulsed softly, a quiet affirmation of her success. She had survived, adapted, and controlled the battlefield. The galaxy might see humans as small, but underestimated humans could change the course of any battle, the perception of any species, and the expectations of the entire universe. Lena took a step forward, her eyes scanning the audience. She did not smile, but there was a quiet satisfaction in her gaze. She had proven herself, her abilities, and the legacy of the Reapers. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. The commander stepped back, nodding slowly. "This human, she has changed everything," he said quietly. "Her kind will be remembered." And she would continue to prove it, one battle at a time. The arena was quiet, but the tension was electric. Lena stood in the center, her chest rising and falling steadily, her green eyes scanning the vast crowd. The aliens who had come to watch her fight were no longer cheering or mocking. They were silent, leaning forward in awe. The drones, the humanoid soldiers, even the champion, each had failed to intimidate her. Now the alien commanders were about to bring their ultimate test, the final demonstration of the human girl's abilities. The commander, the massive four-armed alien, stepped forward. He had been watching Lena closely, analyzing her every movement, every reaction. He spoke to the crowd with calm authority. "This human girl has survived challenges that would destroy most warriors. She has proven skill, intelligence, and control beyond measure. But now, we will see if she can endure the final trial." Energy walls rose, drones hovered in precise formations, and elite alien soldiers appeared in fully armored suits, their weapons charged and ready. The scale of the challenge was unlike anything Lena had faced before. It was designed to overwhelm, to push her limits beyond imagination. Lena's tattoo glowed faintly, sensing the danger. She had trained for such moments, for situations where the odds were stacked impossibly against her. Every step, every instinct, every movement was ready. She had survived the drones, disarmed the champion, and controlled overwhelming numbers. This, she knew, was the ultimate test of her Reaper heritage. The first wave of drones attacked simultaneously, swooping down with blinding speed. Lena moved like water, flowing between them, redirecting their attacks with quick taps, precise kicks, and rapid maneuvers. Sparks erupted from collisions, and the crowd gasped at her agility and foresight. Even the soldiers watching from above admitted that no human had ever moved with such control. The humanoid soldiers advanced, their energy weapons aimed precisely. Lena studied them carefully, noting the differences in their stances, the timing of their steps, and the subtle tells that revealed their intentions. She did not attack recklessly. Instead, she used her environment. Shifting platforms, moving walls, and energy barriers became extensions of her own body. Every attack she avoided, every counter she executed, showcased her intelligence and control. One of the elite soldiers fired a continuous energy beam. Lena leapt, twisting in midair, and landed behind a control panel she had noticed earlier. With a flick of her hand, she redirected the beam harmlessly into a wall, causing it to crack and spark. The soldier froze, stunned by the human's ingenuity. The crowd murmured in astonishment. Aliens who had mocked humans were now leaning forward in awe. "She is not just surviving," one whispered. "She is controlling everything around her. The humans, they are extraordinary." "You are a Reaper, as your mark suggests." Lena had turned the arena into a stage where the impossible became possible. She is teaching us," he muttered. "Humans are more than we imagined. They are a force to be reckoned with." The challenge was designed to overwhelm her completely, to force even the most skilled warrior into defeat. Lena took a deep breath, centering herself. She knew this was not just about strength. It was about control, intelligence, and resilience. Her tattoo glowed brighter now, a pulsing light that seemed to feed her focus and instinct. She moved with precision, flowing between drones, redirecting attacks, and using her environment as an extension of her body. She leapt onto a moving platform, using it to slide behind two soldiers simultaneously. With precise movements, she tapped pressure points, disrupted balance, and disarmed them without causing permanent harm. Sparks flew, metal clanged, and the crowd erupted in a mixture of awe and disbelief. Even the commander leaned forward, his forearms crossing. "She is not just surviving. She is controlling the entire battlefield. She is showing us what humans are capable of." She jumped, flipped, and redirected their momentum against each other. Sparks flew as drones collided, some falling harmlessly to the platform. She moved with the calm precision of a master, never wasting emotion, never acting impulsively. The soldiers tried another coordinated attack. Lena studied their formation and timing. With quick steps and subtle movements, she disrupted their coordination. One soldier stumbled into a shifting platform, another was forced backward by redirected momentum, and the last barely kept his balance. Lena's control of the battlefield was absolute. The crowd erupted in cheers and gasps. Aliens who had once doubted humans now looked at Lena with respect and even fear. "The Reaper market is real," one whispered. "The humans are not weak, they are powerful beyond imagination. The galaxy will remember her name." The tattoo on her neck pulsed brighter, then slowly dimmed as the final challenge ended. Lena had not only survived, but dominated. The drones lay scattered, the soldiers disarmed or off balance, and the energy walls returned to their neutral position. The arena had witnessed something remarkable. The champion stepped forward once more. "You are worthy of legend," he said. "No human, no warrior, has ever displayed this mastery. One girl has changed perceptions. One girl has shown what is possible." The drones, the soldiers, and even the champion had tested her, but she had adapted, anticipated, and controlled every challenge. The humans who had once been dismissed as fragile, weak, or unpredictable had now earned their place in the galaxy's consciousness. The arena's silence gave way to a chorus of recognition. Aliens whispered among themselves, soldiers nodded in respect, and the commanders exchanged glances of astonishment. Lena had rewritten what it meant to be human in the eyes of the galaxy. As she stepped forward toward the exit, her tattoo dimmed fully, a symbol of mastery, control, and human resilience. She had proven that size, species, or expectation did not define capability. She had proven that humans, underestimated and overlooked, could face the impossible and succeed with intelligence, courage, and skill. Outside the arena, humans and aliens alike would tell the story for generations. The tale of the girl with the Reaper mark would inspire respect, awe, and perhaps even fear. It was no longer about a human being small or weak. It was about a human being capable of shaping the perception of an entire galaxy. Lena walked out, calm and steady. She had faced overwhelming odds, survived every test, and shown the galaxy the strength of human potential. The arena had witnessed the impossible, and Lena had emerged victorious. The commander watched her leave, a rare expression of admiration crossing his face. "She has done what no one thought possible," he said. "She has shown us that humans are extraordinary. From this day, humans will no longer be underestimated." It pulsed once, softly, as if acknowledging the future. The arena, once a place of judgment and spectacle, had become a stage of recognition and respect. Lena, small but unstoppable, had shown the galaxy that humans were more than anyone had imagined. And as the crowd dispersed, still talking in awe about the human girl, Lena knew one truth. The galaxy had underestimated humans, yes, but that underestimation was their greatest mistake. Humans were capable of intelligence, resilience, courage, and strategy far beyond expectation. And one day the galaxy would see just how far humans could rise. For now, Lena had survived, controlled, and conquered. The legend of the human Reaper had begun.